Lawnarchy, what's happening? It's your man PL.
What's happening?
You just heard the sounds of DJ Jamel Rockwell in the prelude. Um, we have a special guest and friend tonight, Donald Ross, aka Scribe. How's it going tonight, man?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh man, we're doing all. I'm doing all right. I'm not going to speak for everybody. I'm under the assumption that everyone's doing all right, but we're going to get into that in a little bit also. Man, before we get started, just want to say thanks for coming through, man. Appreciate you coming to hang out with us on the lawn.
Thanks for having me.
Oh man, because I know you're a busy guy, and you got like 43 dogs, so it's making time to come by here and hang out with our goofy asses. Man, we really do appreciate it.
And brought one through.
The OG Fudge.
Yeah, he takes the notes before the
No wonder everything's been so in line.
Yeah, Fudge is on it.
Fudge stays paid.
You can see the focus all over his face.
So before we get too far into anything, let's go ahead and check in. For those that are unfamiliar, we are first and foremost like big mental health advocates. So we want to make sure that we provide a platform for people to be able to say yay or nay to something, speak what's on their mind, get something off their chest if they feel need be. So it basically just operates like hey Jason, man, how was your week?
Man, I'm alive. I'll say the store, 2 stores down from mine got robbed earlier this afternoon. So yeah, fortunately nobody got hurt, but that was kind of wild for a Friday. Somebody might be getting a pretty cool Father's Day gift or a little bit extra than what they were probably expecting. And if somebody approaches you with a bootleg iPhone, I would probably stay away from that for a couple weeks.
Yeah, as soon as you turn that joint on,
they coming to get you.
oh, so you the guy.
But yeah, besides that, the rest of the week was pretty decent. So no complaints.
Word. Rock, how was your week, man?
Not too bad. They always talk about cleaning out the closet. Clean out your garage. What's more sorry?
Well, garage is just a big closet.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's a car closet.
Yeah, that you can put a car in.
Very well. Very well. So got both my garages cleaned out. That was cathartic.
Oh, that's pinkies up.
Yeah, I can walk through either unimpeded without having to moonwalk through that motherfucker.
Now let's see how long it lasts.
It's always hard to start, but once you get it done, it feels good.
Oh yeah.
Sold a refrigerator today. It was make up for my cooler expenses. Got Boulevard here tomorrow. It'll be dope. Not a bad week. Can't complain.
All right. Scribe, my man, my mellow. How was your week, sir?
Had a great week actually. I started out my summer pretty good. I got one of my sons went off to college and he's back in town. So been around and actually, our boys are together.
Man, that sounds dope, man. To be able to fire your bosses is fucking awesome.
Only took about 30 years.
Hey,
I learned a lot from it.
and I was gonna say, but had it happened sooner than the 30 years, it may not have worked the way it needed to work, because you may have missed out on learning something. You know what I'm saying? So.
I wouldn't argue that firing good bosses is better than firing bad bosses.
I'd say that all of them. Right now,
Firing a bad boss is elite. Yeah. Firing a good boss is come on.
True. Man, my week was the beginning of my week was kind of heavy because I was editing last week's episode with Mokes and Ben Swiller, and I kind of watched Lucid's check-in a couple of times, and it just kind of weighed on me for a little bit, but it also changed my perspective on some things. Some stuff that I really, really wanted to complain about this week, I just let it go. Didn't even, you know what I'm saying? It just said fuck it about it. I don't know. So it was good. It was a good week. Yeah. And so so it was a good week. I feel like I felt like letting some of that go and not focusing on it I was able to take that energy and focus on something else, which may or may not come to fruition, but at least I was able to focus on it and knock out that task. So that was that was cool. I almost had a moment where I was gonna choke some white folk out. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you.
But you're here though.
Shocker.
But I'm here though. But I'm here.
It's safe to assume that didn't happen.
I mean, they really they would have had it coming. I mean, I don't think anybody would have been upset with me for choking these white folk out. But yeah, it's always a work. Street white folk don't fuck with your boy like that. Scribe. It's just the work white folk. And more times than not, is some goddamn tweaker just out in there meffed up. Just, hey man, what's up? Y'all don't share this for the meth?
No, sir.
Oh, they have taken over, man. See, okay. I had no idea where to talk about this, but fuck it. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, I was on the streets doing some street stuff, and crackheads were, we all remember how crackheads were. They were, they had something. They had a service. They had some goods. They had something to offer, you know what I'm saying? Hey, yo, shoot, you need your transmission redone? I do that for $350. I'm just trying, you know what I'm saying?
$3.50.
And three,
Barter
I'll rebuild your engine for $12.
$12.
It'd be done overnight. I got this lighter and this mirror that's gonna that I'm gonna angle to. But when you come back out in the morning, your box Chevy be right. You know what I'm saying?
Like you did.
These fucking tweakers have nothing to offer in anything positive at all, man. Yeah, man. It's like they're like the what are those fish that are taking over at Longview Lake? The carp. Yeah, they're like the Japanese carp. Yeah,
That's the lake. How are they in the lake?
exactly. But they're at
How the fuck did they get that?
because people let them go in fucking Longview Lake, and now if you go down to the to that one end where the like the spillway is, oh, dude, they are you could just put a net down there and catch them out of the air because they're just literally jumping out of the water.
Now, whoever decided to start that music,
Oh yeah, that's real.
you know,
They had these special games that go around the boat and buy that fall back
yeah, it is.
and then they like the cart was there to allow
Man, dude, tweakers, dude. You know, I've told a similar story on the show before, and I'm gonna tell you the one from this week, which was the one where was one of the things I had to, kind of let go. I was walking from my job to the little convenience store across the street to grab some zoom. Grab, I'm high, so I'm grab a little snack, just a little something. As I'm walking, I hear a motherfucker say, hey, big bro. First off, I hate being unless I am your big bro. I don't like being called big bro. That does irk me. I've gotten OG. I'll let OG slide. I've welcomed OG, but big bro just bob because that denotes a closeness that you are trying to force upon me.
Let me tell you, you look at something.
Oh, I already know. So I don't stop walking. I just look and say, "Hey, what's happening, fam? Hey, got them rails? They hot."
Oh!
I stopped, turned, looked, and was about to go fuck him up for offering me meth. But then I stopped and said, "Hey, man, bro, little bro, what about me looks like I want some fucking meth? Dude, I'm 6'3", like 225, 230. I'm not out here geezing for no fucking meth, bro. What the fuck is wrong with you?" Hey, man, everybody want it.
No, sir.
Everybody wants it.
That is not a fact.
It's not a fact.
You down
But
fast,
you know the gif of old boy when he's like, and the camera's coming. Oh, man. That was me in real life. I was, oh man, because I looked around, like 3 people coming down the street, tweakers. 2 people crossing the street, tweakers. Motherfucker coming out the convenience store, tweaker. I'm like, God damn. It's this motherfucking tweaker hood now. They here. They here. Offering nothing productive. Just asking if you got bubbles and oil burners. And then get mad when I say we don't. And then they be like, "Why don't you sell oil burners?" I'm like, "Why ain't you got no teeth?" Yeah, my teeth ain't the best, but I'm a hip hop artist with no insurance. When I do what I can, you know what I'm saying? When I got it, I go. Well, otherwise, hey, fuck it. Life's life. But homeboy, that one you got is barely hanging on by a thread. A literal thread. I don't think those are nerves. I think that's an actual thread that is.
You sold him back in.
I had a lady saying he said,
Nope.
it depends on what kind of drugs you're talking about.
No, if they ask, can you do drugs, they talking about
Drugs, right. Right.
Nope.
Look, man. Fine, dude.
But
No,
now,
you cannot mainstream methamphetamine. You just cannot.
look, but to a degree now, I understand how my OGs used to feel when me and my boys would come around with all this weed. You know, they would smoke a little reefer here and there. You know, smoke a little cheap from time to time. But you know, we was like we smoked weed. We lived on smoking. But we were also productive though. You know what I'm saying? Shit, we was out there gang banging heavy, selling crack, writing rhymes, going to school, graduating, playing ball. We were the new Renaissance men. Hey, I mean for real. I if any, I don't want to put nobody on the spot, but Brother Nevis, no, he was from the you know hood adjacent to mine. You know what I'm saying? Shit, it was everybody did everything. It wasn't no shame in it. You know, I'm not, you know, I'm just saying. But just because cats was having, you know, 2.8s and 3.5s, don't think they wasn't out there active in the street.
I'm talking GPAs, not grams.
Oh, GPAs, grams, straps. What you? Hey, I remember we were somewhere and cats was like, ah man, these cats go to Lincoln, you know, man, nerds, people, blah blah blah. Hey man, Lincoln's not a neighborhood school. We from all over. We all got hands though. Bing bing bing. Take some of these south side hands. Bing bing bing. Take some of these north side hands. Bing bing bing. Brass, no. He was at Lincoln. Anyway, so tonight we got Scribe in the house, and OG Fudge. Man, OG Fudge is really just chilling. Fresh. If I didn't know her, I think OG Fudge was in the stash. Yeah, that's what he was sniffing around for. He's like, oh yeah, I know they got some weed rice. He looked up like, oh, I'm busted. Oh man, I was just joking. So, man, my bad, Fudge. I didn't mean to snitch you out. Snitches be stitches. I know you don't like that. So, let's see. I don't want to like skip details or anything, but I'm just gonna give like the general. You're from Boston, originally, or not originally, but
Yeah, I went to high school in Boston.
okay. So I'll say from Boston because high school, in my opinion, is like the formative years. So you're from Boston. Came to Kansas City to go to the Art Institute. Which is amazing to me because I feel like there should be like there are probably like I don't want to say better, but maybe more reputable places in between here and there.
You know, it depends on what you're looking for. You know, like everybody is trying to go to school. I happen to have some family. You know, one job. Was also really interested in animation. I thought that I saw more of an illustration of the possibilities moving into animation. So I thought following the footsteps of the city animation.
Okay.
They offered me to write my scholarships.
And by reputable, I mean maybe at the time, because I believe that KCAI's rep has definitely increased globally over the past 30 years.
Yeah, it's had a rep for a while, but I also looked at it from interior design at a school called Union. It's been a lot of training moments. So it's been long animation not Florida, but honestly, I don't know if I was ready to get to the Florida. So it's something I was getting away from home, getting away from Boston, safety net, I ended up meeting my wife there.
So did she go to KCAI too?
Yeah, she was a freshman in the same year. She's 5'2", I think it's called 5 inches. It's like this one.
Hence when you guys do your shows together.
Yeah, so we met the same year. I mean, it was a bad year. I met here, and then Alexander girl that was a rough
Meeting Danny Girl was rough.
met Jeremy, you know, like 30 years has a lot of meaning to me. You know, like right now.
Were you with the artist too, Danny?
She was there too often.
So she was there.
No, there was a lot of parties and stuff that happened. Like they used to be pretty bold about having DJ parties and stuff around there. Theo Parrish was a DJ at the time, house DJ, and he would play in there. They had like an auditorium, and it was where I went down for the first time. And so this was right before the gospel were having this concert. It almost felt like the blend. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Like the blend between Vibe Tribe and Flavor Pack was like there were these, you know, like art school party things happening in between.
That's dope. Cause I attended some Flavor Pack stuff, starting with the VFW party.
I remember that one well.
The main thing I remember was it was cold as fuck,
Yes.
and I couldn't bring my coat in, and I was like, dude, that's kind of bullshit that I can't bring. But I was like also glad I couldn't bring, because I was like, I don't have anywhere I would like keep it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm still a little mad about it, but because it was cold. It was like really cold that night.
Yeah.
It was like super duper cold. And me and Smooth were out there, or Smooth was out there. I think he had on like a fucking Jodeci fireman outfit, because it was around that time. And then I had on just, you know, jeans and a t-shirt, because that's what I do.
That was a big night. That was you know, I only made it through a year at the Art Institute before they asked me to leave.
How does that happen? You got to run that back.
You know, I used to run around and paint with gear, and we got kind of known for, you know, being rebellious and stuff, and so they had put a reward out for graffiti. I think it was about $2,500 through 474 tips at that time.
Oh yeah.
And so some teachers and some people called in, and since I was known for graffiti at that time around school, like I got turned in, and one of the people that had turned me in that turned out not to be an Art Institute student at that VFW party, like there was a piece of paper circulating of one of the people that had been busted for graffiti, and like, you know, had also turned a bunch of people over, and that paper of his confession had been made public. I don't know if it was by the police or how it got out, but it was circulating at that VFW party, so there was a lot of drama that night.
Man, that's wild.
Mm-hmm.
So was it $2,500 per person that he turned in, or just?
You know, I don't know. I never got a chance to ask the people that if they collected or not. You know? So, but a couple teachers at that time, this is how old school it was, the Art Institute had a switchboard system, and you had to call in to somebody in order to get an outside line. So it was like old school.
Oh,
you
wow.
punch your way out. And a girl who was dating one of the artists from Flavor Pack called us and said, this teacher, this person. So, I mean, I had names of people who had connected to the 474 tips, and we were tipped off earlier, and Gear and I moved a bunch of spray paint over to Kansas.
Damn.
Yeah,
Man.
That's wild, though.
it was wild.
Art Institute thugging.
Yeah.
Was Psych there when you all were there?
No, he was quite a few years later.
Okay.
I think I feel like he may have been still in Paseo at that point.
Okay.
And honestly, I'm not sure when he was in school there. So I think
He'd be about my age.
he would have came.
He's my age.
What do you call it?
44, so he would
Okay. Yeah. So he would have came in right around when I would have.
When you were right after you. Okay.
Yeah.
I always wondered if there was any overlap
No.
between.
I had heard about him through Paseo. There was a lot of talent coming out of Paseo at that time. There was him. There was an illustrator that he was working with that I can't remember his name. That they did a lot of collaborative work together. Cess Crew was really coming together at that time. I had met Jamal Joe Good at that time.
Yep.
He was still in high school, and that was when I had first met Nisha too.
Huh.
Yep.
Yeah, Mama Nisha. It's good people right there.
Hi, Nisha.
So, when you all started doing Flavor Pack, was it I know it wasn't easy, but was it easy for you all to come to, in your opinion, to kind of like make it work, or was it kind of like a lot of button heads initially, or?
When you mean button heads, what do you mean by like the people that were working on it, or butting heads with the general public and like,
people that were working on it? We all know that there was a general, hey, fuck those guys from the public about Flavor Pack, especially the police.
Yeah. We getting all this snoring in there.
Oh, no. I didn't want to hit on one.
But
No, to be honest, Danny will probably laugh at this. I probably didn't hardly speak those first 4 or 5 years. I was an extremely quiet person, and I was learning, and I kind of believe in mentorship and knowing your place. And so I just, the combination of being shy and, understanding that I didn't know a lot about what was going on. I was just along for the ride and there to help when they need me. And so luckily I was a fairly big dude, so occasionally I'd stand at the door and make my best effort at looking intimidating. But really I think that I was just viewed myself more as like a support staff and an Uber fan. I was out doing graffiti, and that was something that I was confident about. But I, as far as like an understanding of like hip hop history and even how like hip hop politics within the city works, I was extremely quiet and just stood back and observed most of the time. And I was okay with a lot of other people around me knowing a lot more than I did.
Oh.
So did the culture inspire you, or because from the outside looking in, it seems like a lot of your work just like influenced the culture. You know what I mean?
I don't think that. Thank you. I don't really know. I just was trying to do the best
that I could at that. I got involved and interested in graffiti in Boston when I was taking the subway to school. I had a really cool art teacher. First two periods of the day, she didn't really know what to do with me, so I would like knock on the window of this brownstone house, like house type place in downtown Boston. Let her know. I would be like, "Hey, Miss Hatch, I'm here," and then, if my parents watch this, they're probably just now finding out. But I would then wander the city, and I would like get on the train and go take pictures of graffiti and copy stuff, and I was just interested in that culture. But I didn't understand any aspect of it being a part of hip hop.
Okay, that's it. That's interesting.
Well, there's a large sect of people who don't count graffiti as one of the tools or one of the tenets of hip hop
That
because
will argue that?
Yeah.
well, because it's its own deal, and to a degree, I have zero problem with that. But I also say, yeah, but the same way rap is the language of hip hop, or rap music is the language of hip hop, graffiti is the visual art of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? That was happening before we picked up a microphone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that was hip hop. Even though it was its own thing, it was hip hop.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's I don't know. But I understand and I respect it. Because I was when I was out doing street stuff, I was the graffiti guy.
Yeah.
I was okay with a can. I was nowhere near what
Yeah, I was a hobbyist. A hobbyist at best.
at best. Well, I was just the dude who had the steadiest hand and understood pressures and how to make sure that the paint didn't run, and it was just because I was watching you guys.
Yeah. That's awesome to hear. I just, when I was in Boston, my mom put me in an animation class, and I ended up sitting next to this kid that went by Bandit, and he ended up putting me in his crew, TFK, and he showed me like spray can art and and all the books part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But what the books talked about was graffiti, but it didn't feel like to me, at least because I was so focused on the imagery, I probably, maybe if I would go back and read every single word, that I would have seen a nugget in there of it being connected to hip hop. But it wasn't until I moved here and I met Gear and I met East that they started pulling out, videos, and they started explaining the history of it. And other than being an extremely quiet guy, once I started to understand that there was a bigger breadth and history to it, it was a little overwhelming at first, and then I started understanding like there had to be I needed to take this a little bit more seriously other than it just being like, I'll admit at the very beginning when I saw it, it was like you go to the art store, you buy colored pencils, you buy markers, you make art. And so then, like the way that I saw graffiti when I first got involved with it, I'd say, and you bought spray paint. And then you made an effort to go out and do it rebelliously, whether they wanted somebody there to have it there or not. But I didn't understand the connection to history until I met, Gear and East. And then it was Flavor Pack that really started to help open that stuff up to me even more, and I felt like I was a part of something, and then there was a sense of responsibility to continue that and do it the right way.
Well, I will say on behalf of the fellas that you have, in my opinion, or in our opinion, definitely carved out a space in graph history, and you, Gear, East, Film, you know what I'm saying, Cry,
and more. There's
Yes.
Giz.
Yeah, I mean, it's
business.
yeah,
For a
it's
minute, like too many to mention.
but yeah, but
Tommy
you guys,
Lee.
oh man,
Tommy Liff.
shout out
Jeremy.
Tommy Liff. I know
Yeah.
he's probably watching right now.
Yeah.
We need to get him back on the lawn, get him some of this court and whiskey, court and shine.
No, but real talk. I mean, no cap. Like y'all, like
Yeah,
y'all the Rosetta Stone for my generation at least.
yeah.
I mean, we saw it in TV and videos, and if you were smart enough to go to the library or get online, then you could find some resources there. But as far as tangible graffiti culture, like it was y'all. I was 12 years old getting driven through the city and okay, this is what it is. I see what's going on. You know what I mean? Like,
And I knew, or in my opinion, I felt like you all had really made it, at least in the city, if nothing else, when you did the AKKA
Karate place.
karate spot over in Westport
Yeah.
the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember what year that was. That was like 2002 or
94.
oh, it was 94 the first time.
94.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, so you did that first, the dark gray with the
No, the first thing done on there was the dragon.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
I painted by myself that had the orange background. I've done 2 dragons on that building.
oh shit, you did the orange damn, that was
Yeah.
dude, okay,
That
so
was 94, and then Gear and I painted the front of it. He did the front door and made it look like you were walking through Buddha's stomach.
yeah.
And there was a bunch of other crazy stuff on there, and then that ended up kind of falling apart. And my kids ended up taking karate there, and that's how I ended up evolving that whole building. And I repainted another dragon to pay homage to that. That's the second thing we ever did. The first thing that we painted publicly at that scale was Big Dude's music,
Big Dudes was
which was
Man.
94 also.
yeah.
Y'all did Zowie's too, right?
Yeah, so the Big Dudes is what paid all my court costs and my fines after I was arrested. I made
Oh, I remember you made the news.
Yeah, we made the news for a while. It was a slow news week, and then that's how Big Dudes found my probation officer, because I was on probation for like 3.5 years, and then that's how I paid off my fine. So it was a combination of that, and then the city traded 4 paintings for my court costs to go at my probation office. So, and I did the story of the mouse pulling the thorn out of the lion's paw.
Where at
It was over there near the Gates spot off of Paseo or Truce.
Yeah.
over
The
there.
old
I
probation
do
officer.
remember that.
Yep.
Yeah, I went to that spot. That was
yeah.
fun.
Ooh, shit.
Damn, that
Damn.
wow, that just oh man, that just plucked a whole memory. Yeah, damn.
Ironically, we used to paint in the Paseo tunnels
Mhm.
before they tore that bridge down. That was a pretty popular ATT spot for the whole crew. Painted a lot of stuff in those tunnels down there.
Man, yeah, that's when I knew. I was like, oh shit, it's really real here. It's. And then I would like go to Chicago in like the late '90s, and cats be like, yeah, it's my boy from Kansas City, and dudes be like, yeah, man, I did some stuff down there, blah blah blah. And they tell me like where to go look at it, and they be like, I know what's up still, because y'all are respectful of nice pieces. You know what I'm saying? If I ain't no toy, that's what I kept hearing. I was like, I don't know what the fuck you talking about, big dog, but I would go to the spot and I was like, oh damn, that is nice.
Yeah.
You aren't a toy.
Really the Kansas City scene owes, really everything to Gear and East and Cry. Those original 3, in my opinion, are what started it off. And for me, I think a big motivation for trying to be better was you know, like I was around. Flavor Pack was motivating to me, you know, from a like as a on a hip hop level for me to make an effort to be the best version of myself that I could be. I wanted to be the Jock Max of characters. I wanted to be the Jeremy McConnell of like being socially conscious about what I was doing about my art, and that's how those. I wanted to have as much style as East, and I wanted to steal every color scheme that Gear did. And so, like, you know, that
Gear has always had like the dopest, wildest, oddballest at times color schemes, and I'm like, I never would have thought about putting that stuff together, man.
Yeah.
But
well, his mom dropped him when he was a kid. Hi, Gear. He's watching right now. I love you, Gear. No, he's a really good color theorist, and I get compliments on my colors a lot now. And even though we may be in different directions on like how we do color theory and stuff, the amount that he talked about it and the amount made me examine it, you know, more. And so at some point, like, I was definitely like being influenced by him, and then I started kind of going off in my own direction, but taking it seriously as a part of the craft. You know, it'd be like the equivalent if you were an MC, like it'd be your cadence or your flow or whatever. It's like one element of that part of it. You know, I would say that I owe, whether it's a direct influence or not, like I would owe my mental energy going into that to Gear, and you know, like in my cleanliness and my style and certain things to
all you guys' styles are like clean. I'm putting a quotation mark because you know it's. Sometimes the piece that you did downtown, I love Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I can reach out and just like reach into it in
Yeah,
parts,
that's
and I love the fact that, you know, just about every rapper who's shot a video in the past, you know, like 5 years has
My goodness.
I've seen a couple butts bounce in front of that piece. And a couple guns raised. So, you know, which is awesome.
Both
to
are
see,
representative of Kansas
that
City.
nurse holding a baby for Children's Mercy, and some dudes throwing guns up in front of it. You know, like the juxtaposition is like, hey man, some of their cameramen should have pointed you at least in a different direction, but that's all right. I'm glad they're excited and stuff about it, and I'm glad it's made an impact down there. You know, our goal always was like, both Gear and East really drilled this, and old spray paint used to be a lot harder than it is now. Like when you were originally using Krylon and stuff, there was this thing about conquering the cleanliness of it. I thought that what you were supposed to do was to make it as clean as you see it in a photo. And the way that photos come to you, and they're this little 4x6 at the time, I thought that was the goal, and that ended up being a good thing because we were always reaching for that. It turned out that when I started traveling, that I started seeing a lot of stuff. There's a lot of clean stuff, but there was also a lot of stuff that was fuzzy that I thought was clean because it was photographed from a distance and shrunk down to a 4x6, like the way that you see it on the phone. It still happens today. You know, there's a lot of stuff that looks crisper than it really is in real life. But I owe that, you know, like I was glad that I was ignorant to that working that way, because shooting for that goal is what made us clean.
Yeah, because there was a couple of pieces in Wicker Park like 15 years ago that I'd seen pictures of, and I was like, man. And when I actually got there, and I was like, okay, but I had to be, you know, like down the block to actually, because otherwise it just. And I was like, okay, yeah. So I get what you're saying. That's
not a whole lot different than like impressionism, like when people paint paintings and it's a bunch of little paint dots, and then you you get far away, or your television is a bunch of paint dots, and then you get far away, and you got this like clean picture. Graffiti did the same thing. I didn't know that it worked like that, so I was like, I was always like, how do I make it look like the photo? And then people started saying like, man, you paint clean, and I was like, isn't that what you're supposed to do? Like, like isn't that the goal? So it was kind of cool. And then all the European spray paint started coming out, and it made things, a little bit easier and stuff, and offered a whole lot more colors, and then new caps started coming out and stuff, and I'll be honest, like now it's a lot of cats that are in art school just go buy spray paint and they go and start painting stuff now, and it's not the same as far as having to.
I remember reading old like rap pages, I want to say it was, and they had a ad for like some spray paint stuff, and then had an ad for caps.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck are caps, man? What I'm thinking mushroom cap. I'm like, damn, they can advertise for this. Damn, this
German
is
caps, French caps.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, I don't know nothing about these German shrooms or nothing, but I'll try. I will definitely check them out.
So 30 years ago, in order to find caps, they would go to like auto parts stores and pull caps off of cleaners and different things, because you could then swap them out onto a Krylon can and you would get a different effect. And then if you wanted a cleaner like outline cap, the old school miniature Krylons had a special cap on it that became to be known later as the New York thin cap. And so people would go to the Hobby Lobbies and steal all those caps off of the testers, and make a lot of those guys making models' lives a lot harder. Because then afterwards, they like put that like regular Krylon cap on there, and then they pushed it and it emptied that little can in 2 seconds. But yeah, that one in particular, they made a nice cap because you wanted a fine mist to paint those little cars. And so people started buying those or stealing those for outline caps.
Oh man.
Oven cleaner caps, all that stuff.
Yeah, see I would say it was Beach Street is what really kind of reinforced the amount of thuggery that's actually in the graffiti culture.
Yeah.
Y'all be out there stealing this shit. I'll be like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Let's go steal this shit. Let's go. But you know what I'm saying? I'm not promoting thieving and stuff now. We're all grown.
Yeah.
Steal that shit. Big company, not small people.
But times have changed. Now you go to the art store, you buy it, you go online. You buy
Yeah,
caps and stuff,
it's all just. I saw the first time I saw was the Fat Cat, where when you it's got the like the yay wide spray or something. I was like, damn, that's running through a can.
It drains.
Yeah, that's right.
You ain't got long, buddy.
You
Make
better,
it count.
because that's the can.
Yeah, you're just doing giant tags and stuff like that.
So how were they doing the? I don't know. It was like 15, 20 years ago. Like down in the bottoms, you'd see like the super duper giant. What was that? How was?
That's a fire extinguisher. So the old school fire extinguishers that you could take to like a QT pump for air, and you charge it up with air. You fill it with house paint, and then you.
Fuck.
And then you like.
I was wondering because I'd be like, man, that's a.
That's why they're called fire extinguisher tags. There's very few people, in my opinion, that like do that stuff with finesse, because most of it.
Oh yeah, a lot of it would be garbage, but there were a couple ago I was like, man, that's dope, but.
Yeah, it's hard to control, something like that.
Where has been one of your more favorite locations to paint in locally?
Locally? I don't know. I've always liked painting around, Kansas City in general. I think that over the years when that club was called a bunch of different things, EXO Dance Club,
Oh yeah, yeah.
the Coliseum, I don't know, like
Yeah.
Cocaine Alley,
Atlantis.
Atlantis.
Yeah.
It was just a big cocaine run through there.
Yes. Yes.
It just
Facts.
that they gave us that whole building and we painted there, and I think that I have a lot of fond memories.
That
of,
was dope.
90s tweakers that we used to meet down there.
Man.
We met, we saw a lot of naked bodies, just crazy stuff that would happen down there, and just
I went to EXO like
characters.
twice.
Yeah.
EXO was EXO was like a club out of a movie.
Yeah.
And that kind of frightened me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, this is way too.
Oh, they weren't doing meth. They were doing crystal.
Oh, they were. Oh, yeah. I don't. It was just way too much going on. That it was just too many skeevy motherfuckers it were too many corners in EXO that somebody could be hiding in, and some bullshit could be happening. About to. And I just never could feel like I was getting my party on, even though everybody around me was like, I guess, just already super duper fucked up and just like.
Ha ha.
It was even scarier when the lights came on in there. But I went there a couple times. Like, I got friends that are all like house DJs. I saw my friend Max, Dagan, a bunch of other DJs play there. They had like a little back room that was kind of chill.
Yeah,
not the big main room.
Yeah.
Big main room felt a little bit like Jersey Shore-ish for me. But like
Perfect. That's a perfect.
yeah,
analogy.
before Jersey Shore was a thing,
Yes.
it was happening in the Coliseum
It absolutely.
or
is.
whatever you call it. And yeah, we used to just paint out there. I think that we would paint there at night while the club was open. And you'd see a lot of people go in one way and come out a different person. It was fun to watch at the very least.
Oh yeah.
And I hadn't painted, like I had kind of taken a break from Westport for a while, and I recently, in the last year, painted on Gomers. I did that, I kind of did that big lion
Oh, okay.
on there, and I got the chance to experience Westport again. It was like during the day it was one thing, and then it was pretty trippy. Like as soon as the sun went down, right there on 39th and Broadway, there was a whole different set of characters.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That came out.
Still.
So
The night shift.
yeah,
Still.
it was a night shift. So, a lot of people just hanging out. My favorite guy was I look over when I was priming the wall. This guy just has his hands in my paint, and I was priming the wall, and he's just doing this. And I looked over, and I was like, "Yo, what are you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, is this not all right?" I don't know yet. What are you doing? And then he just looks at me and real slowly puts it on his hair and just starts painting all his hair and puts it into this paint mohawk. And I was
Wow.
and then I was at that moment, I was like, oh, it's been a while since I painted in Westport. I was having flashbacks again.
He's
and
like,
I was
oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
This is Westport. So
Did you see Street Fighter?
yeah, me and Street Fighter.
He's still out there.
I haven't seen him in a while, but he loves me.
Oh, Street Fighter. Yeah, me and Street Fighter are good.
Yeah. I mean, I had to challenge him. But
shit.
yeah. I mean, we got really close to going at it, and then, but now I was sitting in a Starbucks on 39th Street, and he came stumbling in, and he started screaming like, "Oh, isn't it great when two legends are in the same room?"
Holy shit.
And so I used to meet these old guys up there at 5 o'clock every morning to have coffee. And so for a month after that, every time I got coffee and all the old guys that sat out there, they would always be like, "Yo, what up, legend?"
Oh, man. Oh, man.
But I hope he's doing all right, man.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a
challenged.
while.
Didn't he get shot?
I don't know.
He's-
There's 100
he's
stories about that guy.
Probably been shot,
So,
stabbed,
Yeah.
uh,
Unfortunately, what
stapled.
that guy considers respect is sometimes is actually standing up to him.
Oh yeah,
It's kind of a
that's how me and him got cool.
Yeah.
Like,
We were having something in Riot Room one night, and he came by and he was just like, just on this Street Fighter shit, and I was like, "Hey, come on, Street Fighter, not tonight, man. No, man, what the fuck? What's up? What's up?" I said, "Street Fighter, we can go knuckle up if we got to, but I don't want to, Street Fighter, and I feel like we don't have to." You right, dog. Come on. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, man, thank God, because, Street Fighter's probably got, like, hepatitis F.
Say Z.
And he told me that, like, when me and him ended up almost squaring up, it takes a lot to get me upset, and he kept coming at me, and it had crossed over until I feel like I got to defend myself, so I puffed up, and I said, if you were doing this, we're doing this. And he said, I got AIDS.
oh wow!
And I just,
We're not doing
unfortunately,
that.
I
Fight's
said,
over.
I was like, well,
You win.
yeah.
That's like playing the big joker first play of the game. Bang.
Holy shit!
Brooklyn.
Oh shit!
Yeah, he's
A fucking draw for wild shit.
Oh,
nigga.
first play.
but he provoked, he unfortunately, he just kept coming at me, and that was the only language he would speak, so it is. But then after that, we were best friends, he'd see me out there while I was drinking coffee, and I think
Oh,
that's
man.
what he loved and respected.
Yeah, I just make sure he gets, I get him some water
Yeah.
when he, I'd be like, hey, hold on, Street Fighter, let me get you some water, man. He'd be like, oh, man, thanks, bro. I'm about to go fuck somebody up. I believe it, Street Fighter, because you are always about to go fuck somebody up.
There were all these rumors that he was part of a really wealthy family, that was an outcast, and there's all this folklore about him. So which maybe he made it all up. And,
I don't
that's why
know.
we're talking about him now, right?
He's a legend.
He's a legend.
I think the times that I ever encountered Street Fighter, he actually had a girlfriend,
Yeah.
and so he was a lot more chill.
Oh, okay.
I never had to square up with
Yeah.
Street Fighter.
Girls will do that. Yeah.
And sometimes it'd be when I was DJing down there. So, hey, don't give me this. I'm carrying all this fucking gear, dog. I'm not.
I haven't seen him for a minute. I heard that he was living down, not that far off of Broadway, down there, and had an apartment, had wealthy parents, and his bills were paid, and that.
Yeah, I heard he was a trust fund
living
baby
that,
or something.
good
Yeah.
life, on purpose, but
I've seen a few of
So
those.
yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if it's true. I hope he's doing all right though.
God bless Street Fighter, wherever he is. I'm just glad he's not out here punching statues and walls anymore.
Yeah.
The night I saw him punching the wall down at Kelly's, I was like, yeah, Street Fighter's really dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, he's really dangerous.
OG tweaker.
Yeah, man. But Street Fighter offers a service. He would walk me to my car.
Yeah.
After events, and I'd be like, Street Fighter, I don't need you to walk me. No, man, I got you.
It's dangerous out here, Nick.
Hey.
Shit.
All right, come on, Street Fighter.
Shows there's a nice guy in
Yeah.
So good at Westport.
Yeah, man. So I guess Street Fighter would have took a bullet for me if it came down to it, because he sure would have been trying to fight it, fight the bullet. You can't knuckle up with the bullet, Street Fighter. I don't know. Street Fighter might be able to. Shit.
It's taken 3 seasons for Street Fighter to enter the conversation here. I'm surprised.
Nah, he's entered the conversation before, I'm sure.
No.
Oh no, I'm sure.
I wasn't here.
Oh yeah, but I'm sure he's in, because it's Westport. I mean, it's like 4 things you always talk about if you talk about Westport: Hurricane / Riot Room, Buzzard Beach, Kelly's, Street Fighter.
Yeah.
those are your
That's the Mount
those are
Rushmore.
the Westport
I like to substitute
staples.
Street Fighter for Jay Wiz.
Yeah.
Not Westport really for Jay Wiz in my opinion.
I used to see Jay Wiz a lot out there right on Broadway and Westport Road in front of the statue.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess he
On the
would be over
triangle,
there
Maybe out there
at the
breaking it up.
yeah
But
on
if
the
you're talking about like longevity, like I'd say the Street Fighter was around.
oh Street Fighter's been around since I can remember going to Westport.
Since before Jay Wiz?
Yo yeah
Wow.
yeah
Damn.
It's been around a minute.
He really is a legend. Shit.
yeah. When I turned 21 in '95, and I remember Street Fighter being around before
The
then.
other one was that guy that always was asking for money in Westport, and his line was, "Do you have a down payment on a cheeseburger?" Do you know who I'm talking about? The guy that got
Yeah.
busted on, like, was it 2020 or something for having,
What?
like, he was had money.
No stuff?
Yeah, and he had that. Yeah.
Yeah, Plaza
well,
dude.
he moved to the plaza after he was doing Westport. He wore out his welcome in Westport, and he disappeared for a minute. Then he started showing up down in the plaza.
Oh
and
man.
He was always like, "Oh, do you have?"
Somebody told me that saw him pulling off in a Cadillac or something one day, and I was like, I don't believe you, man.
He was on some national news for getting busted for doing a lot better than anybody imagined, because he had this humongous husky that he would get like trimmed up, and it looked like show dog quality, like dog, and he'd play it up pretty good down there. He had some good games.
I remember he was in the Pitch did an article about panhandlers.
That's
Way
what
back.
got him noticed, and then it was after that he was on some national news show.
Hmm.
He outed himself.
Man,
He messed up his own game. I don't know the button lady.
she used to sell buttons.
No. I don't remember her. No.
I can't remember his name, but the dude that used to wear the hot pants and the suspenders and the shirts, and he just come kick it.
I get like 10 different people in my head when they say that.
He was just like, or like they'd be like the what they call the hoochie daddy shorts now. The old coach shorts from football back in the day, where one nut might just fall out. Just oh my bad, put that back.
We'll talk about like different fixtures around Westport and the city. I hope Superman Jesus is doing all right.
Man, that shit was wild.
So I hope he's all right. He's got a big mural in Westport. He's been a fixture. I've known him. Like we know of each other really well, and we've talked and stuff. But I can't say that I'm a friend of his or
All right.
know him well. But my prayers go out to him. I hope he has a fast heal or whatever.
Yeah, man,
he's dealing with.
that's sad.
Nah, they
He
said
was,
the kid had his
The
phone.
story that he told was that he was like tossing the football with a kid or something, and then he's about to leave, and the kid's like, hey, you got my phone, because I guess they have similar phones or something, and Mr. Wheeler was like, nah, I don't have your phone, I don't need your phone. I'm sure what was going through Mr. Wheeler's mind was, yo, motherfucker, I'm KC Superman, bitch. I don't need your goddamn phone. I got my own phone. I got 3 phones on me. Look at me. Bam, bam, bam. Phoned up.
Run with me.
Catch me.
I hope
But,
he heals. I don't know
yeah,
how.
so the young dude knuckled him up. And that's just not,
It's not
cool, man. I'm from a time when you didn't knuckle up to elders unless they tried to knuckle you up.
Yeah.
And then, whoever's knuckles was up the most, then, it was what it was. But this was this was bullshit. I don't like this.
At all.
Do
Well, I
better,
hope he
KC.
recovers quickly.
Yeah.
Whatever he's dealing with.
So, switching gears again. Resound Fields. Um, how did Rumpus come about with Resound Fields and this whole world that you've created that
So
seems to be like kind of
it's an alternate universe. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's connected to KC, but it's like an alternate universe that he ends up in the new book that I recently came out with. That's where he ends up going. He's ironically taking pictures of graffiti down there by where I had my probation office and the Paseo tunnels, and like a magical or whatever you want to call it, spiritual whale comes out from the tunnels and swallows him and takes him to this other place where all the creatures on the island are addicted to these vampiric cupcakes. Is kind of the really quick gist of it. But the way that it came about actually was about, interestingly enough, about like finding a different way to be involved in graffiti and hip hop and recognizing honestly where you lived. And when I moved from Boston, I was somebody that drew b-boys. I drew subway trains because I took them, and it was also what you saw in the old school book. So we were like emulating what we did. And the East came from Chicago, and so there was this sense of like either history or you're just doing what you think is expected of you within that style of hip hop culture. And the more I started thinking about, honestly, about like where we lived, Gear and I had like done a trip somewhere and we drove through the Flint Hills, and I got a chance to see it like in real life with the tall prairie grass like flowing in the wind, and that just like really spoke to me. And I started painting these characters in the fields and making them more Kansas City area centric rather than following the old like hip hop formula of doing like b-boy characters that are like in their poses or and doing all that stuff, which had its place, but I definitely felt like I was mimicking that stuff, and I always liked drawing animals and stuff like that when I was a kid. And so I asked myself, like, what are the things that I love the most? And I was drawing animals. And where do I actually live? And so I started putting those two things together, and that's what one of the things, besides how good East was and how good Gear was with their lettering, but from what I've been told by some of the people, that was part of the reason why I personally started popping up in magazines, because it did set itself apart from the general thing that you would see within hip-hop culture and stuff. It was either dudes were drawing b-boys and all that stuff, or they were drawing like they were really working hard to prove how hard they were. And so they would draw like the meanest, muggest, like demon character or whatever it was, and I just, like, it didn't make sense to me to emulate. I didn't want to be a Midwesterner emulating things that were happening on another coast. I wanted to like show some pride. Thomas Harbet was somebody who did that, famous Midwestern artist who finally stood up at one point in his career and was like, I'm going to celebrate what's around me, and that's what made him famous, besides his talent. And so it's what set him apart at the time, and I would say that, like, I think that's what made me lucky enough to get noticed in some ways. Was there's a lot of people out there that are wielding a can that are talented, but what stories are you telling? So I just started painting these like weird characters. Rumpus is kind of a character that represents me. Rhinos are going extinct and people are killing them, and that's what's happening to a lot of parts of hip hop that I like. and that made sense to me. Was that like there were things that I liked about it that I felt like were under attack. You know, that may not be the opinion of a lot of other people. But when I got kicked out of school and I realized that I couldn't like actually pursue a career in art, I started drawing the bees with Rumpus. I sat down and started when I didn't have school anymore. I was like, I'm the only person I can rely on to create my art and be able to propel me forward, whether it be as an artist or involved in the hip hop scene or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was getting a lot of what I would call like temptations to do other things. You know, like whether it be to party too much or do whatever that would take me off track. To me, that felt like being stung by bees over and over again. So I started illustrating this group of bees that were chasing around Rumpus. Even though there's a necessity to bees, there's a necessity to them, you know, like being a part of our life. They want to be jerks. They hurt, you know. And to me, that's what it felt like. The culture, I felt like the culture was constantly coming at me in order to like get me away from my original dreams and desires. And that's how I started illustrating it. I started illustrating an animal who is being hunted and killed for his horn. You know, the special part of them, which a lot of people in hip hop and graffiti experience. There's a special part of them that is hunted and killed. And then I'm sorry to get so deep.
No,
but
it just hits home, man, because it just.
Bees, when I first started illustrating them around town, were not a positive thing. I think over time, they used to always be angry, and that was because I was demonizing every single person that was preventing me from moving forward in my goals. And a lot of times, they were just people that wanted to chill with me in fellowship. But because I didn't get a chance to move forward in school, I saw everything as they're trying to get me off track. They're trying to be a hindrance to me and sting me all the time.
You kind of became a hammer,
Yeah.
and everything was a nail.
Yeah, and so over time the bees got nicer because I had to come to that realization that like a lot of what I was drawing was angry about what I thought was coming at me. I thought that everybody was trying to prevent me from experiencing my dreams. So then a lot of bees, some of them are still, we all deal with those jerks.
Oh, yeah.
We all deal with tweakers and stuff like that, but there's a lot of really dope bees that are making honey, and and so they became like a character in my artwork that represents like both sides of the coin, like people that are really chill. We need those people in our lives the way that we like need to be taking care of bees in real life, but also, you know, there's a lot of them out there that are just straight up about stinging people.
You know, you have any idea how badly I wanted this interpretation?
I don't really talk about it a whole lot, you know, but
Holy shit.
that was like my that was my version of what of who I was and what hip hop was to me.
Nisha,
Dude, this is like a total convergence of like memories. And
me and Nisha were talking like when I used to live at Nisha's house, and so one night we were just outside talking, and we were talking about the bees, or talking about your art in general, and I was like, yeah, you know, I noticed that you know the bees, this and blah blah blah, and she explained to me what the bees, and I was like, and I kind of didn't say anything for a couple minutes, and then she's like, what's on your mind, little brother? And I was like, shit, that shit's deep because I feel it. But for me, I didn't draw bees. I was just like writing rhymes that were like completely disrespectful about people.
Yeah.
and I didn't like it. Yeah, I was telling Brass about a project. I was telling Brass a couple months ago about a project that I had done and put out, and then pulled back because it was just like not indicative of what I felt I really am.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And but that was my version of of drawing the bees. You know, it was.
I mean, some of it ends up being, I'm sure I could imagine the amount of people that write rhymes that part of it is for their therapy. You know, like I painted bees and stuff. The thing that I think I lucked out on was that a lot of people ended up enjoying them, and it has the ability to cross different worlds. It can look like one thing to the general public, and it can mean something really personal to me and to other people that know what's going on. And I think that that's actually been a small part of the success of it all, is that it's the delivery of it doesn't have to be like a hammer over the head or threatening in order for it to be talking about real talk and serious stuff between humanity.
Are you going to Seattle anytime soon?
I don't know. I've been to Seattle. That's a great town. If you're watching and you don't know what the reference to Seattle is, I guess recently it's been announced that they can't. The federal government has said that in Seattle in particular. So I don't want to get this wrong, but definitely in Seattle in particular, whatever laws they had on the books for graffiti are no longer something that they can prosecute. Now, that caused a bunch of confusion because it was tied into a law that had to do with destruction of private property, which made people freak out. And they were like, so are you saying that they're not going to prosecute anything, which means that, like some people were getting these images in their head that, like, oh, I'm going to just go start throwing rocks through windows and setting stuff on fire and breaking things. And they came out recently and said, no,
Because
specifically, we will not prosecute graffiti, but we will prosecute destruction of private property in a physical sense.
well, because the Pacific Northwest, they want to burn something up. They want to break something. It's,
Supposedly, this had also triggered something in LA. I had heard rumors in like Detroit and even Kansas City. This kind of flew under the radar, although some writers knew it. It was in the newspaper that the police were not going to respond to graffiti calls. And there was an update in Kansas City. So I don't know if that's what it's going to happen in Seattle. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I haven't been able to fully wrap my brain around it. There's one side of me that says like humanity has a difficulty in monitoring themselves, and when they hear that there's a loophole, there's just always people that want to take it so far. There's also the conspiracy side of me says they're allowing this to happen, hoping that humans do what humans do and take it too far, so that the general public votes in a stricter law. And it's a setup of a long-term way of saying, like, well, you guys, what they were accused of is your law is too vague. And so I can't help but wonder, if this is a setup. So you lift the veil, you say it's okay, people go out and do what they do. Like we push it too, people in general push it too far, and then the pendulum swings the opposite direction, and next thing you know, the next kid that gets busted for graffiti instantly has a felony. So I don't know. I'm curious to see how it all plays. Like that's wild to me. to announce it.
In the here and right now, I'm kind of geeked about it
Yeah.
because maybe somebody who's been doing some stuff and like little private, will come out and start. But the other like 94% of me is like, man, fuck the police. Y'all setting us up for later on. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Everybody get all comfortable doing this, doing blah blah blah, and also create a database of, okay, well, Scribe is Donald Ross. You know what I'm saying? This guy is this guy. This guy is this guy. Okay, so now we know who to. If we start seeing this and start paying attention how what their styles are, I just don't trust it.
Yeah.
I'm very leery.
You know what I think they should do if you're going to change the law. What you should do is any commercial property that is deemed a blight. You know what I mean? Like it's not been taken care of, it's falling down right away. All that should be fair game.
Yeah.
All that should be fair game.
If they don't care, then
The paint itself is protecting the structure.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know what I mean?
It's so tough, man. Like the 18-year-old side of me is just like, whoa. Like, what would I have done if I would have known that? And then the other side of me is wondering if like the publicity of it all is specifically to speed something else up. So I can't help but be, a little cautious. But maybe that's just like the older guy in me that's suspicious of things. But it just, I don't know, it'll be interesting to watch and see, like what takes place in that. And, there's going to be a lot of people that are like small business owners that may get hammered pretty hard, that don't have the money to clean it up. There's just so many different like aspects to how all of that stuff works. The reason why this ended up getting all the attention was somebody wrote messages towards the Seattle Police Department in chalk, and they arrested them in 2021, and then that's what got like they arrested them, I think, for graffiti. And then they discovered that the laws on graffiti were extremely vague, allowing them to pick and choose when it was really graffiti. And I think any of us would agree that writing something in chalk on a sidewalk is not graffiti because it's not permanent. But it sounds like the Seattle police used that situation to prosecute somebody to the fullest extent of the law over a message that they didn't like, which became a free speech issue. And that's what the federal government called out Seattle. They said your graffiti law possibly is, like working against free speech, and that's what lifted the bail on. Now, I could think of 100 different people that aren't going to care about the free speech part of it and just, bomb the system. And to each their own. They're gonna do what they do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna definitely be paying attention.
Something to watch. Yeah. So watch Seattle again.
Man. Yeah. Keep it.
Fest.
Yeah, I don't have it. I guess my bad, y'all. Showed y'all some stuff, but y'all saw that shit. So you don't need to know what we were saying on top of it. Fuck it.
Both the flavor pack event and Soulful Sundays event is going to be good, and then gear. Like we've talked a lot about graffiti and graffiti history, and at the Soulful Sundays event, my wife and I, Elisa, at Soulful Sundays used to always bring coloring pages and try to do stuff because a lot of families come to that event. Kids would color and chill. That way, parents could like hang out with each other without their kids going bananas. But Gear is going to be holding what's called a bench, and he is inviting specifically like graffiti writers to come and see history from him, learn from him, just hang out and have a sketchbook session. So he is piggybacking that on to the Soulful Sundays thing. So there's two different reasons to go to that, and a whole lot of talented reasons to go into the Flavor Pack party also.
Oh yeah, we'll have that gang here next week. The night before the Flavor Pack party. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be big fun, man. Scribe, bro. We're, once again, man, appreciate you coming through, man. Are you getting in tonight, Buddha? Oh, okay. Oh, shoot, come on up, Buddha. Shoot. We
I apologize that Fudge talks so much.
Oh man, shit, Fudge is all good, man. We actually have a mascot now, Tito Libido.
Oh my God, Tito Libido. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's what kind of dog is he?
He's a Chihuahua.
Yeah, he's a Chihuahua. He's the horniest Chihuahua this side of horny.
Oh.
Yeah, he's humping.
Oh, I gotta get him a little teddy bear or something throwing in the kennel with.
Yeah, knock his rocks off.
You know?
Humpty dance.
No.
Let's see. So, if people want to commission you, are you available for that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I'm available. Like I said, I'd stepped away from traditional job stuff. I'm designing a hospital in Tulsa right now, so I'm kind of back to doing some of the work I did at Children's Mercy, which we didn't really step on or get into.
Oh no, because I want to bring you back. See the Children's Mercy and the Tulsa Hospital stuff. Me seeing the helicopter flying over my apartment when they were doing like the test runs for it or whatever. Yeah. See, that's a whole nother that's an episode in and of itself. So I didn't want to. We're gonna talk about it, but I want to bring you back.
And
so
that's sliding hip hop like slightly in there just to get it in real quick. Like there's big graffiti arrows and stuff going down the side of those helicopters, and that was a fun way to like sort of undercover like put my teaching and the culture that made me into it, while also doing what they needed in order to provide that stuff for kids.
And I'll say that it was brilliant. I don't know if I've told, but I feel like it was brilliantly done. The fact that I've gone to Children's Mercy just to see artwork, you know what I'm saying? I don't have
That's
any.
the only reason
I don't have any kids, and I don't. My general philosophy is fuck them kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm cool with kids. We get along and all that, but I don't have any. So since I'm not a parent, parents are often like, "Yeah, PL, you don't understand. You don't have kids." And I just be like, "Yeah, well, send that to eaterdick@eaterdick.com." But
if they have an issue that they're dealing with in their life, like, I mean, what a blessing that place is here within this community.
Oh man!
To be honest, that place is a rock star globally and nationally as far as like how their ability to take care of children. And what I was doing was just a small, like a really small part of it. I'm not, I don't work there anymore. I don't have a reason to like pump it up, but there's so many dope, good doctors there and nurses and staff and environmental service workers that make that entire world go round, and they take care of people in their darkest hours, you know. And so the fact that they're on a national stage, you know, like is in Kansas City is sick. I was just icing, you know.
Oh man. Well, for us though, it's more than icing.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, Children's Mercy is major,
yeah,
and for you know what I'm saying, for you to have the amount of stuff that you know that tied in with you know the ambulances, the helicopters, fucking wings of the build. You know what I'm saying? That see
Another
everybody,
time.
see see we almost see we'll go 4 hours tonight not having back, and then yep. See now we see I make sure we have reasons to bring people back, even though we always welcome.
I got you. Thanks.
And you Fudge, you're always welcome, man.
I'm sorry, it's so rowdy.
Hey, you know, Fudge is all good with me. Me and Fudge, I think we see eye to eye on some stuff.
He's my therapy dog. I want to say thanks for having me out. I appreciate the kind words about any involvement the small involvement I've had in any of the culture here.
Oh man,
I literally give it to
it is
to Danny and Gear and East and a lot of people, and even my wife supporting me through all my dumbest times of my life, including yesterday, and I appreciate all that history and the support from people.
well. I'm just gonna let you know that it's no small part. It's a tremendous part, and I enjoy it because when my nephews were little, and we'd be driving around and be like, "Hey, I know that guy. Yeah, I know that guy," and I'd see stuff that you guys would do, and it was all legal. I was like, yeah, this is yeah, man.
Kansas City for
Oh, I'll
us.
do big name drop.
Can-
I'll take the kid to Children's Mercy. Big
Well,
name drop.
Kansas City, as slow as they like to move on some things, and as hard as they've been on hip hop and stuff, they were equally hard on Gear and I moving up. Like you could get Gear and I here, and we could tell you story of attack after attack after attack as we tried to move our way up. It was honestly at times totally horrific. As homeboys say, had one thing after another in order to build up to it. But they finally crossed over into a certain level of support. And I'd also like to say that Gear and I beat them into submission, because we didn't allow them to bully us. So we just kept it there no matter what, and we I think together
and I think
crew just normalized it.
we also kind of became a little more politically active.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because of what was going on with you guys. So, we started realizing, okay, well, our votes actually do count. So, and I think that we actually might have even gotten some people in that were on our side to a degree.
Yeah.
And that, you know what I'm saying, change happened.
Yeah.
Kenzie didn't fuck it up for once.
It has it does its fair share of it, but
man.
there have been a lot of really awesome things that have happened, and when you really do look back at a lot of that history and the fact that a lot of that artwork is still out there, the fact that somebody from Chicago told you that full color pieces get left alone and respected is a testament to the teachers.
And on that note, tonight's final flowers, before we let you go, you are when we first started, me and Rock was first started doing this, we had a list of like 8 names of people that we just like hoped to possibly, maybe one day get, and you were on that list, and you weren't like number 8, or you were, so you were fairly high up on that list. So thanks for helping us, bust the bucket list item down. So now bucket list item number 2 is gonna be to have you on the second time.
I appreciate it. It's not how I usually see myself, because I love the people that help bring me up, but I'm honored by that.
Oh man, it's the lawn. It is what it is. I don't give a fuck what anybody else is saying. This is how we feel about it. So, once again, if you don't like it, eaterdick at eaterdick.com. Emails open all day, every day, 24/7.
Keep up the good work, guys.
Oh man, thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate you coming in. Appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Stick with us. We got Buddha coming up with the after hour. We're gonna play a video first. Let me see what we gonna play. We gonna hit you with some Dutch Newman.
Alright.
Y'all be good. Next week, that gang. Week after that, Legal Trap Report. Then July 7th, the DJ Blowout. July 7th. That's gonna be here. It's gonna be. I'm not gonna say any names. Well, I will say DJ Rockwell, DJ Highlander, DJ Buddha Palms, and I know I'm DJ Sincere. I think
Those
are the Stone Cold Locks, and he's a lot, but I gotta just reach out just to make sure. And it's about 5 or 6 other DJs also. So it's so it's DJ Blowout. We don't do 4th of July here, so oh shit, damn. Happy Juneteenth, everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Say happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. Shit, we
straw hat ready.
hey, Rockwell Straw Hat Ready.
I've accepted my OG.
I followed a lot of you bogus MCs, so it is what it is, I guess. Y'all have a good one. Peace.